Okay, so I am really hoping that I am coming back and I won't see it for another minute or so. So I hope I am that. Okay, looks like I'm back. Coming. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Okay, thanks, you guys. Thank you so much. So if you decide to come back in, thank you. sorry, you guys. So this is what's happening. So I'm back. I'm back. So hopefully you guys get the notification and you come on back because it was just getting good. It was just getting good. So I was talking about webinars and why they're important to your business. All right, so let me just make sure that I share out to you guys so that I tell you this technology is something serious. Okay, so hopefully you guys come back, all right? Because I want to go ahead and give you all my tips for making sure that you have a successful webinar. Hey there, who's that came back? Okay, thank you, Dee. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming back. Thank you, love. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so I was saying that that the reason that webinars are so important is because when you start offering higher ticketed items, or products or services, people need a little bit more time to make sure that they know you, like you, and trust you before they invest that kind of money into whatever your solution is for them, okay? So webinars are a very quick and effective conversion tool, okay, for you to do that. So I use webinars when I am trying to, or when I am offering a product that is at least $500. If it's $500, then I will do a conversion webinar. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what a conversion webinar is and why you want to do one. Okay, so I talked a little bit about that just now, saying that a conversion webinar will help you to sell and convert more people into your courses, into your coaching services, if they get a chance to interact with you on a webinar. And there's a reason for that. Number one, you guys know that video is king, content is queen, okay? So being on video, it allows you to convert at a much higher rate. So webinar is part of that scenario because webinar people are, of course, seeing you virtually on a camera. So they're able to see you. They're able to, almost be in the same room with you, or it kind of looks and feels that way. They can look into your eyes. They can see your body language, and they can see if you're really sincere, if you're authentic, if you're, how are you feeling? How are you presenting the material? Is this something that you really know about, or is this something that you're just saying, or is it scripted, or is this something that's really in your heart and something that's really in your knowledge base? So people can see that on a webinar, and they can get that level of trust that they need in order to say yes, all right, to your offer. They know they want it. They know they need it. However, when you're asking people to drop, what might be a significant amount of money to them, then you definitely want to use webinars. So those of you all who are a little bit scaredy cat about the webinar, I want to help you get over your fear of webinars. So if you have a fear of doing webinars, I'd love to know what it is. What are you most afraid of when it comes to webinars? Is it that you don't know the people who are coming on your webinar? Is it that you're afraid of the technology? Is it that you're afraid that your PowerPoint doesn't look good enough? Hey, Val. Hey, honey. Hey, 1%. Elite One. Thank you for coming in, babe. Thank you. So we're talking about webinars and making sure that you feel comfortable because this is a tool that you need. All right. So it's kind of like social media. Social media And being on video with social media, that is something that you cannot avoid. Okay. Video, social media, that is what you need because that is what the market has demanded. So knowing that, you cannot go against the tide of where people are. This is where your customers are, and this is what they're expecting from you. So it's the same thing with webinars. So you can run away from webinars, but eventually you're going to come back to the webinar. Okay. If you want to convert people at a higher rate for higher money. Now, it's not that you're just being greedy. It's not about, oh, you just want to make more money. I'm okay with the money I'm making, so I still don't need to do webinars. Okay, let me just, crush that thought right now. Okay, because it's not about making more money necessarily. For some people, it's about making more money, but it's also about working smarter, not harder. Okay, it's about working smarter, not harder. So what do I mean by that? So let's just say that you are trying to make $1,000 in a week. If you are trying to make $1,000 in a week, you can either sell 10 products at $100 a piece, or you can sell 2 products at $500 a piece, or any combination thereof. Okay. And listen, you guys, if you haven't shared this broadcast out, please share out because we got cut off just a few minutes ago. And I don't know, people may not know that I'm back on. So if you wouldn't mind, please tag, invite your friends and share this out by just tapping on the video right there. It'll give you an option to share out. You can share out the link as well because somebody might need to hear this message. Okay. And don't forget that I am doing Q&A this morning. So if you have a question about doing webinars, I am here to help you and answer your questions this morning. Okay. So let's see. We have, okay, technology, Valerie. Okay. Valerie, technology is a big challenge for a lot of people. So we're going to definitely talk about the technology aspect and what you can do to help yourself with that, okay, with your webinars. So I'm going to be giving you all a few of my secrets to how I make sure that my webinars flow properly every single time when I'm having a webinar. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you so much, Val. I appreciate that. Thank you, love. All right, so we're talking about webinars and why they're important. And I was just saying, let's just say that you're trying to make $1,000 in a week. You want webinars help you to work smarter, not harder. Okay, so if you need to get 10 people, who was that? Was that Elaine? Hey, Elaine. Hi, honey. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you, baby. Okay, so if you are trying to get $1,000, is it easier to get 10 people to pay $100 or 2 people to pay $500? Hey, Prophetess Turner. Hey there, honey. Thank you, babe. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you guys for sharing out the video. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Somebody's going to thank you for that, okay? Because I'm giving y'all some secret sauce this morning. Okay, so for your audience, maybe it's easier to get 2 people to pay $500 or 10 people to pay $100. So you remember that you are trying to attract your target audience. Your target audience are people who are ready to buy from you. Okay, the people who are ready to buy from you. The people who are ready to get a solution, all right? So they want a solution. They want to get out of this level of pain that they're in, whatever that problem is. And they are looking for someone to solve that particular problem for them. They just have to find the right person at the right time with the right solution. So you are going to offer a webinar, okay, where you say, hey, I'm Kat the Course Builder. Are you struggling with webinars? Don't really know where to start or how to make sure that your webinar goes off without a hitch? Well, listen, I want you to join me for my webinar coming up on Friday. Oh, that's right, Friday, where I'm going to be sharing with you my secret tips for how to make sure that you have a flawless webinar. Okay. Now, I just gave you all a very simple pitch for for coming on to a conversion webinar. A conversion webinar is one in which you are going to offer the high value content for free, all right, so that you give your target market, your target audience, an opportunity to come in and see that you actually have a viable solution for them. Okay, so once they get in, it's up to you to make sure that you are conducting your webinar in such a way that it's going to actually convert. So those of you all who asked me yesterday to go through this, how to do this, we're going to start next week. Okay, next week on Webinar Wednesday, make sure that you tune in because we're going to be talking about conversion webinars and how to make sure your webinars convert. Okay. All right. So don't forget to leave me your questions, put them below, even if you're watching this a little bit later on. Okay. So, all right. So here are some tips to make sure that your webinars go off without a hitch. Okay. So here's some of the things that you can do. Number one, especially if you are new to doing webinars, you want to make sure that your people come in on mute. Okay, make sure that they come in muted already. So you should have a system that allows you to have people come into your webinar already muted. Okay, you don't want people coming into your webinar talking about, hey, what's going on in here? How's everybody doing? And you're in the middle of your webinar. So you want to make sure that there are as few distractions as possible. Remember that if this is a conversion webinar, that you want it to be focused on your value and then your offer. The last thing that you want is to have all kinds of distractions on your webinar. Okay, so one way to do that and make sure that you're able to really focus on your webinar is to make sure that in your settings, you have everybody come in on mute. Okay, everybody got that? Everybody comes in silently. Okay, so when they come in, just make sure that you have a welcome message up for them. Or you can also make sure, you can also have a welcome graphic that welcomes them. That way they know that they're in the right place. They know that that this, what this webinar is going to cover, because believe it or not, people sign up for a lot of webinars and they forget what it's all about. Okay, so make sure that you have a welcome message up if it's not time for your webinar, so that people come in and they know that they're in the right place. Okay, but make sure they come in on silencio. Okay, all right. Dang, I can't even read my own writing. What did I say here? Have are gone. God, I can't read my own writing. Y'all know that's bad. Okay, anyway, I'll skip that one. Okay, so the other thing that you want to do to make sure that your webinar goes off without a hitch, all right, if you guys are scared to do your webinars, I want you to, and this goes back to you, Valerie, when you're talking about the technology, is you have got to pick a system that you use for your webinars that, let me see what this, do the welcome message, have to have bullet points of what the webinar is about. Okay, no, Prophetess Turner. So your welcome message, okay, let me see if I can pull one up real quick. Let me see if I can find a welcome message. That's a great question now. That is a great question. But the answer is no. You don't have to have bullet points. Uh-oh, am I stuck? Uh-oh, am I back? Where's my hand? Am I back? Dang it. Oh, I'm there. Wait a minute. Am I here? Okay, let me put my hands up. Can y'all see me? I think I'm here. Okay. Okay, it's just a crazy delay. All right, so let me go ahead and see if I can pull up a sample welcome that lets you know that you're in the right place. Let's see here. I know I have one. I have something. I just need to find one that makes sense. Let's see. Oh, okay, here's one. All right, so let me pull, I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to share my screen. All right, so here we go. All right, so hopefully you all can see my screen here. This is a typical welcome message from me. Okay, so it'll just say get on course. Well, it'll actually say welcome on it. Welcome to get on course, right? So I'll do something like this, Prophetess Turner. So all you have to do, oh, I didn't really mean to do that. Okay. All right, so you're gonna have something like this. All right, and it'll be and it'll say, and they're gonna say, oh yeah, that's the one I signed up to. All right, so you don't have to have all of the, you know, what it's gonna be about. If you do want to put a little bit of something that says what it's going to be about, that's fine, but keep it really short and it's not going to be a bunch of bullet points. All right, so if you do add something on here, it should just say something like 3 strategies. 3 strategies for kicking off your course. Something like that. All right. So you can do that or some sort of variation thereof. Bloop. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's all it'll be. And then before people have, before it's time for your webinar, before it's time for it to get started, then they're going to come into your webinar and this is what they're going to see. And they're like, oh yeah, that's the girl, the one with the big wig and the glasses. Yep, her. Oh, it's about the courses. Yep, the 3 strategies for kicking off your course. Yep, I'm in the right place. All right. So, you know, you can even remind them of when it's going to start, you know, that sort of thing. But, you know, you don't have to. But so when they come in on mute, they'll see this and they'll know that they're in the right place. Does that make sense? That makes sense? Okay, so let me come back over there so I can see you and see if I have any questions here. Okay, that makes sense, Prophetess? Okay, very good. Okay. Hey, Deborah. Hey, honey. Okay, so yeah, you guys. So don't forget. So that was a great question. Feel free to ask me more questions. All right. So we are talking about how to make sure that your webinars go off without a hitch. And one of the things that I have recommended that you do is have your people come in on mute. Okay. Oh, okay. Now I see. I can read my writing now. I know what I was going to say. All right. So I was going to say the next thing I want you to do is make sure that you have a singular focus. All right. Make sure that you have a singular focus on your webinar. I don't want you guys all over the place on your webinar. Stay focused on that thing. So if you're telling them that they're going to get, you know, 3 strategies for this or 5 steps for that, just make sure that you stay focused on that. And one of the ways that you can do that is you can have a notes section, use the notes section on your PowerPoint so that you can sort of flawlessly go through your webinar without having to keep looking down, You can have dual screens. If you have two screens, you can have your main PowerPoint up, and then you can have another screen up with your actual notes on it, so you don't have to keep looking down and looking all around and getting unfocused, and which is going to take you all off course. Okay, all right. So you want to do that. And the third thing I want to tell you what you can do to make sure that your webinar stays focused, make sure that your webinar goes off without a hitch, is that you want to set expectations for the questions. Okay, so people are going to have a lot of questions. All right, so you don't want to get thrown off because you're answering questions. That is how people get really wildly thrown off. Their time is off, and next thing you know, the 1 hour webinar is now an hour and 30-minute webinar and all this kind of stuff. Okay, you want to make sure that you stick to the time, respect people's time, and one of the ways that you can really get thrown off is by trying to answer everybody's question right then. So here's how you can get around that. There are a few ways to get around that so that you can stay focused on the content. Okay, so I don't want you all over the place. I want you to stay focused on the purpose for your webinar and why you are there. Now, how to deal with the whole questions thing and all of that. You can have a pre-recorded webinar. Okay, so next week, make sure you're here for Webinar Wednesday. We're going to be talking about the pre-recorded webinar and how that works. Okay, so you can do a pre-recorded webinar where you're not actually there live, but it feels like you're there live. Okay, it feels like you're there live to the end user. It allows them to get the information and the content, but you don't necessarily have to be there, or you can be there in some hybrid form where the video is showing, but you're actually answering questions in the chat while the video is running so that you can focus on the questions as people are asking them. Okay, so you can have a pre-recorded webinar. That's one way to deal with that. Another way to deal with that is you can tell people that you're going to take questions at the end. All right, you're going to take questions at the end. Let them know that there is a specific time for Q&A, so that you don't want to miss their question. So when it's time for Q&A, you can systematically go through and answer their questions so that you don't miss anything. Okay, does that make sense? Have a time and let them know. Write down their questions if they have them, because you're definitely going to give them time to do Q&A. All right, so on a conversion webinar, another reason to do that is to make sure that they stay on until the end. Okay, because if you answer all of their questions, then they have no reason to stay, and you want them to stay because you're going to be sharing with them that solution. Okay, and you don't want them to think that because you answered one or two questions, then that's all they need from you, because you know that it's really not. So you want them to stay until the end. Okay, does that make sense? That makes sense to everybody? Okay, listen, you guys, if you guys are new to the Course Crushers crew, I want to take a moment to just thank you for joining the Course Crush crew. First of all, welcome to our growing community. We have different topics every single day throughout the week, and today happens to be Webinar Wednesday, where I am answering your questions about webinars. We're talking everything webinars today. So why you need them and all that kind of stuff. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate you being here. So definitely feel free to invite your friends. If there are people that you know that are building courses, they're building webinars, and you think that this is information that will help them, definitely let them know about the Course Crushers crew and invite them to come in on the fun. All right. Okay. So and don't forget to let me know if you guys have questions. Okay. Let me know if you have questions. I'm actually taking your questions now. All right. Because we actually have about 6 more minutes, and then we're going to call it a day. So I was going to make sure if you have questions, you're asking them now. Okay. So I've already told you, I want you to make sure that your people come in on mute. Okay. I've already said that I want you to stay focused, singularly focused. Don't be all over the place. Okay. Did you know I have a book? Did you know I'm going to be speaking over here? And all this other kind of stuff. Stay focused on your topic. All right. And then we want to make sure, let's talk about, and then the questions, how we're dealing with the questions. You can have pre-recorded webinars so you don't get interrupted with all the questions. You can have the questions at the end so that you have a dedicated time to answer the question. And there's one more thing that you can do to really keep yourself focused on a webinar as it relates to a bunch of questions, because I know that that's one of the things that some people are a little afraid of, because you know that that's going to kind of get you off track. Okay. So one of the other things you can do is you can have a co-pilot on your webinar. All right. So you can have somebody in the background sitting on your webinar who is your designated person to field questions, because sometimes people are asking questions that are very, very simple that you don't have to interrupt your content for. Okay. So, so people are asking questions like, is there a replay? All right. That's not something that you want to stop your content for. So you can actually have a person who is fielding those questions. And then when it's time for Q&A, then you can ask your person if there were any questions. Okay. So that's another way that you can, uh-oh, am I stuck? I think I'm stuck. Am I stuck? Oh, no. All right, I think I'm back. Am I back? I think I'm back. Okay, I'm back. All right, so that's another way for you to deal with questions, okay? Because those are the things that get people thrown off on webinars. Okay. Now, Valerie, you mentioned the technology, so I want to talk about that for just a minute. So I'm going to be sharing with you all what I use. I use Zoom Webinar. Okay, Zoom Webinar. And if you're interested, now Zoom Webinar is different from Zoom Meeting. Okay, you all know that Zoom Webinar is different from Zoom Meeting. So you're going to pay 60 to 65 bucks a month to use the Zoom webinar platform. And that allows you to, all the features that I just talked about. It allows you to it's really actually very quite simple, but there's a difference between meetings and webinars. Okay. So meetings are only $15 a month, but you're going to pay a little bit more for the webinar feature. And the webinar feature also allows you to, where's this one I'm looking for? The webinar feature also allows you to broadcast to Facebook and YouTube, okay? Facebook and YouTube. So I really like, so I'm on the Zoom platform right now, of course, and I am live broadcasting directly from Zoom, all right? So if you all don't have Zoom, you can check it out here. I just put the link in the chat, so you can check that out. And I find that the price is really, really reasonable. And so, and I find that it's very easy to use, and I have found it to be very reliable. But there are lots of other platforms out there, but this is what I use, okay? But there's other platforms that I use for pre-recorded webinars. That's something totally different, okay? So we'll talk about that next week, and I'll be sharing with you all what I use to do my pre-recorded webinars and how that all goes down, okay? So questions, you guys. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was helpful for all the scaredy cats out there who are scared to do webinars. I hope that this helped to allay your fears. And really, when it comes down to it, you guys, you're going to just have to do it. I mean, you're going to have to just do it, practice it, let them come out a little bit of a mess if they need to. Practice, do your practice runs, and you will get better and better and better and better at it. Okay, so that's really what it comes down to. But make sure that you stay tuned for this series that I'm doing on pre-recorded webinars, because I think that it's going to help you a lot. to get through that. All right. And getting through your nervousness on webinars, it's about preparation. It's about knowing your content, and it's about understanding the goal that you have for your webinar. Okay, so I want you all to be prepared. Do not try to come on your webinar 10 minutes before it's time to start. It doesn't give you enough time. All right, what doesn't it give you enough time to do? You're going to have early birds. You're going to have people who come into your webinar early. And when they're coming in early, you should be there. Okay, and even if you're only greeting them in the chat, greet them. Okay, you don't want to just leave them hanging there. So you want to be there to greet your early birds. You want to be there to test your technology to make sure that people can hear you and see you okay. If you're doing it live, that's fine. So definitely make sure that you're on your webinar at least 30 minutes prior to your webinar, okay? Because anything can go wrong. It is technology and things do happen, okay? So I hope this helped you guys. I hope this helped you. You guys are kind of quiet this morning. Oh, it was? Okay, awesome. Prophetess Turner, I'm glad it was helpful. If you think about some things later, be sure to leave me some comments below so that I can get to your questions today about webinars, okay? All right, you guys, thank you so much. If you're catching this later, please share, and invite your friends so that they can be members of the Course Crush crew and get all this good stuff and learn from each other about how to have amazing courses. This is an awesome lifestyle. It's a great way to convert your customers and to help new people to get to know you, trust you, and like you. Okay, so I'm going to help you get over that fear of your webinars. You just need information on how to do it, and I'm going to help you do it. Okay, so make sure you stay tuned. All right. Okay, you guys, I'm heading out. I have a meeting in just a couple of minutes. All right, so leave me your questions below, and I'll see you guys later on today. All right, see you soon. Bye.